As human beings, we tend to live by a natural pattern. The sun goes up, it goes down. We have day, we have night. We eat at the same times regularly. We go to work at the same time regularly. So to me, a rhythm is just inviting God into each aspect of this and to create a holy pattern in my life.
Spiritual rhythms are, for me, to do with prayer, daily prayer and thanksgiving, reminding ourselves always what is good in life. Also then regular confession in prayer. That might be with somebody else, but it's important that it's between us and God. And thirdly, times of contemplation, remembering that a conversation is two parts. So it's not just about talking to God, but it's listening, and contemplation and meditation are things that Jesus showed us, and for me are part of the rhythms, spiritual rhythms of my life.
Because it gives me structure, comfort and calming at times of trouble and worry and sadness, and also of praise and thankfulness.
It's hard sometimes to maintain the rhythms of everyday faith for a whole host of reasons, but for me probably the main one is that I have lived every day of my adult life with depression, and that makes everything hard. But that's why the rhythms matter, because they become almost as natural as breathing. They're hardwired into me, and because I spend time with Scripture and with the theology of the Church, I know that I'm not the only person by a million miles who's lived through this, and that God is there with us even in the dark times, perhaps especially in the dark times.
To me, spiritual rhythms are just part of a day, and my day would feel kind of emptier without them as part of it. So it's recognising that God is part of my day each and every day, and as a Christian that I want to walk in His will and with Him in everything that I do.
Making time to spend in God's presence every morning and every evening is really important to me. Previously, I've always been a person who's enjoyed a Bible study or journaling or something quite active, and that's all good stuff. But I find myself now in a season where the rhythms of my life are busy, and I'm just enjoying relaxing in God's presence with no set agenda. I get up each morning, make my hot brew, and just simply sit down in the presence of the God of the universe. And to my delight, God's always thrilled to see me.
I would say there's probably two main things. One of them is time of prayer and reflection in the morning, and I also use the time in the car to sort of reflect on how I feel blessed.
To grow in my faith daily, I use Engage Bible Notes, and I try to read them each morning or evening. During school, I go to Christian Union, which is a great midweek way to be reminded of God and spend time with other Christians, and it's a good encouragement.
One of the rhythms that sustains me in my everyday faith is coming up to the hills, being in the woods, being in the wild places, and running and praying and listening to Scripture, to creation, to God, even to myself. Throughout the Bible, the wild places, the high places, are also thin places, places where the boundaries between earth and heaven begin to dissolve and we can hear God more clearly. And that's certainly true for me up here, and I come here almost every day or somewhere like this and give thanks to God for it.
So what I think is to help me grow, I like going to church, and I do that with my family, and we also have prayers before meal times, and we have prayers before bed.
The rhythms that particularly work for me are the rosary. It's something that I will, if I'm lying awake in the middle of the night, recite. It will calm, lower the breathing, give me something to focus on, and that for me is one of the great comforts with the prayer.
Now, although rest is an important part of a rhythm with God, I find that it's in my times of leave and on my days off that I find it the hardest to maintain this rhythm, to find a discipline, to come down here by the river and pray, to wake up early and do that on a day off. Can feel like work, but actually the truth is a rhythm of prayer and a rhythm of worship and a rhythm of study is the very thing that gives me life. Therefore, it shouldn't be perceived as an act of work, but just an established part of my daily life.
Oh goodness, the hardest times when there isn't much time and when I feel distracted by things.
I find it hard to maintain spiritual rhythms when I'm really tired, when I'm maybe busy at work or very anxious about things. Also when I'm ill. But those are the times when actually I need those spiritual rhythms. And I've found online apps like something like Lectio 365, but there's others too, contemplation meditation apps, have been things that have helped in those difficult times when it's hard to keep those spiritual rhythms up.